My name is Alex. I'm just an ordinary guy living in a small town in the USA, working at a local IT company, dreaming of saving up for my own house and getting a dog. Sounds like a simple plan, right? What could possibly go wrong? Turns out, my family, or rather my crazy relatives who somehow managed to ruin my life day after day. If you think you have weird relatives, just listen to my story. Let's start with my Uncle Bill. Bill is a man who simultaneously believes in three conspiracy theories, aliens, and is absolutely convinced that tap water contains a substance that prevents people from reproducing. He lives in a trailer on the edge of town and visits me at least once a week with a fresh batch of revelations. Alex, you need to throw away your phone immediately. They are spying on you through the microphone, he yells at me from the doorstep. But Bill isn't even the worst in my family. There's also my Aunt Carol. If you think mothers-in-law can be bad, you've never met Carol. She is convinced that I must marry her daughter-me cousin Laura. Alex, our family doesn't have foolish marriages. You must continue the tradition, she tells me at every opportunity. My cousin Jason is a whole different story. He firmly believes that he was a great warrior in a past life, and now tries to live by the principles of a medieval knight. Last year, he attempted to participate in a knight's tournament at a local festival and broke his arm trying to jump onto a horse. He calls me his squire and insists that I accompany him to all kinds of strange events, like historical reenactment gatherings. But worst of all is my grandmother Dorothy. Granny is convinced that I am cursed. Seriously. She believes I have a family curse that can only be lifted through an elaborate ritual involving goat's blood, salt, and some Latin chanting. Living with such a family is a never-ending circus. They interfere in all my affairs, give unsolicited advice, and consider it their duty to save me from the horrors of the modern world. And no matter how hard I try to distance myself, they always find a way to drag me back into the chaos. But the scariest part? I had no idea their interference was about to reach a whole new level. I woke up to a strange noise. Someone was rummaging around in the kitchen. Glancing at the clock, I saw it was 3:47 a.m. My heart skipped a beat. Uncle Bill and his conspiracy theories immediately came to mind. Had he decided I was contaminated and come to rescue me? I carefully stepped out of my bedroom and froze. In the kitchen stood Grandma Dorothy. In one hand, she held a large candle. In the other, a small pouch of some kind of dust. She was muttering something under her breath. "Grandma, what are you doing?" I hissed. She turned to me, her eyes burning with determination. "I'm banishing evil spirits, my child. They have settled in this house." And then the front door slammed. I turned around and saw Uncle Bill. He was in a bathrobe, his hair disheveled. In his hands was a strange device that looked like an old vacuum cleaner. "Alex, don't move." I adjusted the antennas to detect the signals, he shouted. "What signals, Bill?" I sighed heavily, realizing this night was about to get much longer. I detected a spike in activity. There's definitely something supernatural here. I calibrated my sensors, and they showed anomalies. That was just me microwaving a burrito in the middle of the night. I tried to reassure him, but Bill and Dorothy weren't listening. Grandma dumped a handful of salt onto the floor, drew a circle, and demanded that I step inside. Bill aimed his vacuum device at me and started chanting something. "Oh God, not again," I muttered. And then someone knocked on the window. We all jumped. I walked over and peeked outside. Standing on the street was Jason, in full knight's armor. "Alex, you are in grave danger. I brought you a sword," he announced triumphantly. I closed my eyes and counted to 10. No, this wasn't a dream. This was my life. I stood frozen, unable to believe my eyes. My cousin Jason was staring at me through the window, clad in full knight's armor, holding a sword that was clearly sized more for his childhood dreams than for an actual knight. I had no idea what to say. "Jason, have you lost your mind? What's going on?" He seemed completely confident in himself and his mission. "Alex, you are in danger. I read an ancient manuscript. The dark forces are awake, and you are their target. I have come to protect you," he declared, pointing his sword at me with a serious expression. "Prepare for a great battle." I closed my eyes again. If I had to sum up this absurdity in one word, it would be nightmare. But of course, my family wasn't about to back down. Grandma Dorothy had already begun chanting, mumbling something in Latin while sprinkling the remaining powder into the air, creating a mystical cloud in the room. Bill continued pacing with his strange device, completely oblivious to me or anything else happening around him. He was too absorbed in his mission. "Everything will be fine, Alex," Grandma said reassuringly. "You're about to be cleansed of all impurities. All you need to do is step into this circle and pray. I looked at the salt circle now surrounding me. The whole room felt like a scene from an old witchcraft movie. I realized that if I didn't intervene, this situation could spiral even further out of control. Wait a minute, I exclaimed, trying to make sense of what was happening. What the hell is this? I can't just stand here and participate in your bizarre ritual. But, as always, my words were ignored. Jason was already calling me to battle. Come forth, squire. We must fight this evil entity. The cursed forces will not let you live in peace unless you defeat them, he shouted, waving his sword dramatically. I desperately glanced at Grandma and Bill, hoping they'd realize how absurd all of this was. But they were too caught up in their rituals and contraptions. Grandma Dorothy uttered the final words of her incantation, and at that very moment, something happened. A sharp sound, like a lightning strike, sliced through the air. I jumped in fright. The entire room lit up with a yellow glow, and a chill ran down my spine. I looked around. No dark creature had attacked me. No unknown force had emerged. But someone had definitely arrived. Standing in the doorway was my father. Dorothy, Bill, Jason, he said in a firm voice. What the hell is going on in this house? Alex, what are you doing here? At that moment, he seemed like the most sane person in the family. I quickly glanced at my relatives, who had all frozen in place, as if just now realizing the chaos they had created. Dad, you won't believe it, but things got really weird. I gestured at my relatives in bewilderment. My father, though not a believer in magic, knew how to handle situations like this. He approached Grandma, who was trying to suppress a smile, and gently calmed her down. Dorothy, I understand that you want to help, but let's save the rituals for another occasion. Bill, could you put your vacuum device away? And Jason, don't you think that sword is a bit too much for an indoor battle? Bill turned red, but stood his ground. I told you. It's not that simple. I detected a surge. There's a curse in this house. We're all in danger. Ignoring Bill's passionate outburst, my father turned to me. Alex, are you okay? I let out a sigh of relief. Finally, a voice of reason. Considering that my relatives had seemingly lost all touch with reality, I felt slightly reassured. I'm fine, Dad. Honestly, nothing surprises me anymore, but yeah, I'm okay. Jason seemed to realize that things weren't going according to plan. He sheathed his sword and walked up to me with a solemn expression. Alex, I was ready for a great battle, but it seems I must learn patience, just like you. Together, we can overcome any evil, he declared. I didn't know what to say. The whole situation was so ridiculous that I decided to just ignore his attempt at an inspirational nightly speech. And so, finally, when everything settled down and my parents decided it was time for everyone to go to bed, I sighed and retreated to my room. It seemed like the night could finally end peacefully, but no. One question kept repeating in my mind. When will this family madness ever end? And do I have enough patience to survive it? The next morning, I woke up early as usual. Holding a cup of coffee, I thought that maybe I needed to get away for a few days to recover my sanity. But no matter how hard I tried to escape, one thing was certain: my family wasn't going anywhere. And who knows what would happen next?